Thank you, Mr Speaker.
I call Barbara Kuriga.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's a pleasure to take a call on the Substance Addiction Compulsory Assessment and Treatment Bill, second reading today. And I also want to acknowledge the Honourable Peter Dunn, who's the sponsor of this bill, but also the person who was, forward-thinking in terms of putting together the drug harm index that we heard about before. I actually went to that presentation, and the previous speaker, Louisa, talked about the social costs of drug harm being huge, and we all know, we hear a lot of anecdotal stuff out in society, and it's really great that we're starting to measure it. The bill will enable people with severe substance addiction and severely impaired capacity to decide on treatment. And it's really important to note that it is for the most serious cases. It was a lot of conversation driven through the Health Committee, and really appreciate the submitters that came in, particularly the oral submitters, because a lot of those were people who work in this space. They live it inside out every day, and who are dealing with these people. And this bill must also be, as it passes, a relief to the families, the parents, the partners, the children, and the people who live with this every day, for those members of their family who have severe addiction issues, and they feel helpless and wondering where on earth they're going to go. It is going to replace the Alcoholism and Drug Addiction Act, and we've heard that it was put in place in 1966, and we've heard from the Minister around how ineffective it was, and we got a sense of that as we were listening to the submissions. It's very clear that most people who abuse alcohol or drugs do not need compulsory treatment, and they can do well and they can choose to engage in treatment programs. However, some people really are so unwell that they're just not able to make those decisions for themselves, and this is where this Act cuts in. I think it's really important too, we've heard about safeguards today, so it's not as if we want to go around detaining people all over the place. There are special safeguards to see that we have the least restrictive possible the safeguards there to make sure that we restrict people as little as possible, and that the interference with the rights of those patients is kept to a minimum. It allows any person who's older than 18 and who believes that another person who has severe substance addiction can apply to the area director to have that person assessed. So I believe there's a lot of work gone into this, as has sat on the Health Committee, another good committee submission process, and I commend this bill to the House. Thank you.